one team being down to 10 men for 10 minutes, you know what it's going to do to our game? It's going to destroy it, mate.
We've spoken about rule changes 2 or 3 times this season. I know where you're going to come from on this. Blue cards, sin bins are the latest fad after VAR and possible doing away with throw-ins and kicking the ball in. Where do you stand on blue cards and sin bins, and is it just time that people stop mucking about with football?
Oh, look, like I said, I don't think people will be surprised by my thoughts. I struggle to understand why this urgency all of a sudden to bring in new things. I don't know that there's that much wrong with the game as I see it. My biggest issue with the game at the moment is, like I said, VAR has changed the experience, whether that's you're a player, you're a manager, you're a supporter, whatever you are. I think it's changed the experience of football. So now I'm assuming that's a means to an end. They think that, you know, the introduction of technology is going to get us to a better place. I'm yet to be convinced about that. But, you know, beyond that, I mean, I don't know why a different colour card is going to make any difference. And I struggle with this whole taking from other sports. What I do know about other sports is that most of them are trying to introduce rules that will speed up and unclutter their game. We're going the other way, and I don't know why, because that's been always the difference of, I think, football compared to the other sports, is there's a football match always has a life of its own, and within that, there's mistakes, there's flaws, there's, you know, imperfections, and, you know, other sports tend to be able to stop and start without affecting it. But even that, like I said, most of the other sports that I look across at are trying to speed up their game, make it a better sort of spectacle. I don't know why we're trying to go the other way, but again, I guarantee you I won't be the one that's kind of in the room when they're making those decisions. There's a remedy for that already. Just show a yellow card or send someone off. It's there. It's in the rules. Like, how much you tolerate is really up to you. Adding another one, what's that going to do? Is that going to mean, is it degree of dissent, or is it any dissent, or is it kind of the magnitude of the dissent? Is it what you say? Is it what you do? So the remedy's already there. Now, if it's not being enforced to a level that people are satisfied, well, do that. That's the change you need to make. I don't know why. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about it because I just, like I said, I'm in a different space in terms of where I think football's at. But one team being down to 10 men for 10 minutes, you know what it's going to do to our game? It's going to destroy it, mate. You're going to have one team just sitting there trying to waste time for 10 minutes waiting for a guy to come on. You know, like I said, every other game is trying to speed up. Every other sport is trying to declutter. All we're trying to do is go the other way for some bizarre reason. But like I said, I'm sure there's some, you know, I guess it comes down to whoever we feel should be the custodians of the game to protect the game. That's always my fear. Who are the custodians? I'm not talking about coaches and players. God forbid, could be a journalist. Could be somebody who just loves the game. Anybody who understands our game and protects it. Because, like I said, if it just melds into what every other sport is, well, we lose. There's a reason this game is more popular than any other game in the world, is because you can get a ball, put 2 bags down as goals, and away you go. I guess what I'm talking about is the detail of it, that when, for want of a better word, when change presents itself, who's representing the game, and are we getting enough of a cross-section of who we need to be? So if you're asking me how it currently works, I've got no idea, mate. I haven't been in that space, and I dare say it, I never will be. So, but when I talk about those things, I don't, I take my manager, I'm just talking about as a fan of the game. That's all I'm saying, is that as a fan of the game, I've always loved the fact that, you know, for the most part, our game has remained untouched for my sort of 40 years experience in it. There's been some rule changes, which, you know, I remember, you know, when I was playing, I could pass it back to my goalkeeper and he'd pick it up, and then he'd throw it back to me and I'd pass it back to him and pick it up again. And we used to, and you know what, they changed it. Why? Because they didn't want to see that, didn't want to see the game slowing down. They didn't say, good decision, let's go with it. And I don't think anyone's complained about it. But you know, other than that, there haven't been too many shifts. You know, I don't know why all of a sudden we've seen such a major transformation. We've let technology in the door. We know that's going to affect it. So let's just see how that plays out before we start thinking about other significant changes. So that's, I guess I'm saying, is the conversation we're having now. Who's having those conversations? I don't know. You might know better than me.